wanted to make a quick video on how to program a Safewatch Pro 3000. Mine is an ADT system. How do you add remote control units to it? There's a lot of movies out there. I had to watch a couple of them on YouTube to try to figure this out. But unfortunately, most of them were incomplete, or they didn't quite explain why you were doing what you were doing, so I could not really complete the programming. I have multiple remotes added to this system, so it makes things a little bit more complicated. So I wanted to show you how to do that. So the remote that I use for my system is the Honeywell 5834-4. These run for about, I think 30 bucks for 2 of them. If you get multiple, this video will try to explain to you how to program them. So you're first going to get into your system with the installer code, because this is an ADT unit. It's 6321800. If you did it right, you get this installer code 20 feedback from your panel. 8321800 is, again, installer mode. So don't do this if you really are not comfortable programming your own system. This is not necessarily for the faint of heart. Without getting too detailed into how the Safewatch Pro 3000 works, there's lots of functionality in this. You can look up all of the function codes we'll be using. The manuals are online. I'll add to the description a link to where I found the actual install manual. You can get those off the map. So to get into programming mode, first you're going to hit, after you've gotten into installer mode, star. This is going to ask you a field code. This is sort of the function that you're telling the system with what we're about to do here. 56 is for entering remotes. And it's going to ask you to confirm. This is just making sure that you know what you're doing. We're going to say yes, we confirm. Now you're in the zone programming. Now you've got to find a zone for adding your remote. Traditionally on these systems, if you don't have any remotes added, so this is the first remote, you would choose zone 49. I already have a remote on zone 49. I already have a remote on zone 52, and then another one on 56. So I am going to go all the way to zone 60. So the zones are essentially, think of a zone as a channel where you can send commands to your system. So because these remotes have 4 buttons, they're capable of sending 4 commands. This one is the arm away. This one is a disarm. This one is an arm stay. And this one is a panic. I don't program this. I did a little bit of research. It's too easy to press this when this remote is in your pocket, and you end up calling the police, and I don't really need that. So I'm not interested in having this button functional on my remotes. All right, so let's get into this. Okay. I just have to open this. Sorry about the little interlude with the box here. All right, brand new out of the box. You'll get the remote. They have their serial numbers, so I am programming these in high security mode, so that the transmission between the remote and the receiving system are encrypted. And you will see why that actually matters. That's how you'd want to program them anyways. So let's go to zone 60, which is where I'm going to start the programming. So you enter the zone number. Star is your way to enter zones. All right, so we can see some of the settings for the zone. I'm not going to get into all of this. If you want to understand what all of these mean, I suggest you read the installer manual. For the purpose of this video, all you need to know is make sure that when you hit star after you see that initial screen, you should see zone disabled. that means that this zone is not currently used. If you get anything else other than zone disabled, you can go back with the pound button. That's true through the entire install. You probably don't want to mess something up that's already installed in there. Notice also that it will auto increment to the next zone. So you want to go back to 60. Actually, let me show you one. Let me show you what happens if the zone is already programmed. So let's go to 49. That's where most of you would do this, starting out with your first remote. If I get into zone 49, you're going to start to see that there's already a command programmed to this. Command 20 stands for alarm stay. So it will be this button. So I can already tell that something is using this zone. I probably don't want to program into this, but if you keep going, it will actually tell you. See, zone 49 is used for an alarm stay command, which is command 20. So you don't want to mess with this, okay? So you got to basically go find an empty zone. And this will be different for each one of you because it depends if you already have remotes or you don't. Each remote can take up to 4 zones because we have 4 buttons. Hopefully this makes sense. This was something that was not clear in some of the other videos I've seen on the internet. All right, so let's go back out. Let's go back up to 60, which is where I'm going to go ahead and program this to. I'm gonna get into that. I see that there doesn't seem to be anything programmed here. I confirm that the zone is disabled. Now I'm going to enable this zone. So the first thing we're gonna do is program the alarm stay button, which is right here, this guy. It's the little guy in the house kind of icon, okay? The code for that is 20. All right, so when I enter that, look, it looks it up. It says alarm stay. I confirm this with the star key. Partition 1. I'm not going to explain this. Leave it at partition 1. Report code. This is important. This is actually making sure that things are getting logged as this zone is being used. Input type RF type 5. So this is important. These remotes are type 5. If something else pops up here like 3 or 0 or something, make sure that you get type 5 in here. Okay, you confirm that. Now it's looking for the serial number. So this is where I mentioned earlier that we're programming this in high security mode. So we're going to essentially get the serial key or the remote's key registered with the unit. And I'm going to do that by pressing the button we just started programming. In our case, it was the alarm stay button. And as I'm holding that, it's going to send a signal, and we got that in here. So what this is, it's this code from the back of your keychain, and the L actually identifies that this is button 4. This is button 4. L stands for loop. I don't know why they call it that, but it's analogous with this button right here. I confirm this. I confirm that it's loop 4. Now it's asking for retransmitting the code to confirm that we're having the right code in here. Again, we're doing alarm stay. So I'm holding that, and there it is. It's matching. We're programmed. And I go on. It's asking if I want to get an alphanumeric explanation for this. I do not, so I'm going to leave this at 0. And now we want to the next zone. So now I'm going to go ahead and program the off button, which is this little open keypad. All right, it's going to go to zone 61. In my scenario, this may be 50 for you if this is your first remote. Confirm that. Looks like this is going to be another empty zone, so we're good. Okay, zone disabled. This is exactly what I want to see. The code for the off button is 22, so I'm going to enter that. Confirms that this is disarm, and we kind of go through the same settings again. Report the code, yes. It's an RF button type 5, yes. Now it wants to know what the again, serial number and the loop number is. So again, the same serial number is going to pop up, as you can see here, but the loop is 2 now, which identifies this button up here. Okay, we do that. It's going to ask for confirmation. I do it again. Perfect. Okay, and that is programmed. Okay. Program alpha. I do not want an alpha programming. enter the zone number 62. So we're on to the next button. So this is going to be our last button that we're going to be programming, okay? And this will be the away button. So the arm away button right here, the lock button. I'm going to put this in zone 62. So I'm going to enter programming with a star. This is going to be empty again. See, there's no type. There's zone disabled. This is what you want to see. Now I'm going to enter code 21, which is going to make the zone the arm away. Confirm. Partition 1. Confirm. Report code. Confirm. RF type 5. Confirm. We're looking for a serial number. Okay, so now we're going to program by pressing the button. Perfect. The right numbers come up. Loop 3. We're good with this. Confirm that. And we're going to do one more time the button. It's all set. If you accidentally hit one of the other buttons, by the way, as you're programming, and the system sees that the initial command you transmitted does not match the one that you transmitted the second time, it's not going to let you go past. So if I go back here, you can always go back with the pound key, right? And I'm saying to it, well, you know, I'm just going to hit to show you what a mistake sounds or looks like. I'm going to hit this distress button. Just one more time. I'm trying to get it to do that. Okay, let's try to do this. Alright, so if I hit some other button, here we go. Now we're looking for the confirmation. If I hit a wrong button, okay, see now how there's a mismatch? Initially I told it that it was going to be button 3, which is the arm away button. But then this confirmation it received, I pressed the wrong button, right? And saying, hey, there's a mismatch. If I try to proceed here, it's not going to want to do it. Okay, 3. Hit to confirm. So I want to make sure that these are matching. Okay. All right, good. So zone 62, the command we programmed is 21, which is away. It's on partition 1, right? Don't remember what RC stands for. And off we move. Okay, so we're done actually programming these 3 buttons. All right, so I'm going to end the programming, and the way you do that is confirm this. We're going to go to zone 00. You can tell here that's quit. Okay, and then to exit programming mode altogether from the unit, you have to hit star and choose field 99. Okay. Now comes the next most important step that has been missed on many of the movies I watched. You've now programmed this remote into the system, but you now also have to associate this remote with a user in your system. And in order to do that, you have to know a couple things. One, you have to remember which zone did you start with programming this unit. And in our case, that was zone 60. That's very important, okay? The next thing you need is you need a master code for the alarm. That is your personal master code, not the installer code. That's a different code. So this is your master code that you have complete admin access to this unit with. And then you're going to enter them in a sequence as follows. If my master code was to be 1, 2, 3, 4, which it is not. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want this out on the internet, and I don't want to reprogram my whole unit, so we're just going to pretend right now. But if it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, this is my personal master code to arm and disarm the system, then the way you would program this remote is you would hit 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I would give it a numeric user, which I would suggest this is a 3-digit number, and it could be anything from, I think, 801 all the way up to 850. So you just pick a number. I'm gonna go with 821 because that's just the next sequence that I have not yet used. So you would go, again, from the beginning of the sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I would go 821 for my user. Then the pound key, the number 4, and then you enter the first zone on this remote, which for me was 60. So then it would be 60. So again, just to break it down, 1, 2, 3, 4, that is my personal code, master code for this unit, right? Then I'll do 821, then I'll do pound, then I'll do 4, and 60 for the first zone of this remote. So now I'm going to do my actual master code. I'm going to get you guys out of this screen for just a second. Okay. I'll pick up where we were going here. And when you hear this chime, that means that the programming is now complete. So theoretically, when I push these buttons, it's going to start working with the system. And it indeed does. So I can arm, disarm, I can arm in stay mode, and disarm. So that is it. This last part is very important. That is not covered in some of the other videos I've seen. And when it was covered, I think there was an installer guy that was doing it very quickly, but he didn't explain that after your master code and the user you pick, you have to hit pound, the number 4, and then you have to add the first initial zone of this remote. That's a critical part of this process. Otherwise, this will not work. All right, well, I hope this will save some of you some time. It took me hours to figure all this out and kind of put it together. So hopefully it will just take a couple of minutes for the rest of you. All right, take care.